the hail. Just got a huge hailstorm and it ravaged our gardens. Destroyed most of what we planted. Hello, good people of invisibleness on the opposite side of this lens. Hope you're doing well. Better than I am, at least. Yesterday was a rough day. So it started to rain, as it's been raining almost every day here. It's kind of insane. We've had record-breaking rain. People think of Colorado as sunny and dry, and I feel like we're in a tropical rainforest, which is amazing because the plants are loving it. It's been a little bit colder, but plants are so happy. But it starts raining. It's raining, and then Aja goes, oh, there's some hail. And, you know, I've experienced hail before. It's been many years, but I've had hail destroy my garden in Denver. And for some reason, I just didn't think it was going to happen. 10 minutes later, we're covered in like 2 inches of hail, and it looked like a freaking battlefield. I walked around, and watching the hail, I should say, was really exciting. It was this beautiful thing of nature, just like, wow, this somehow, it's the middle of June, and we're getting these like pellet-sized, you know, ice balls basically flying down out of the sky. And I covered what I could in my one garden, but I have gardens all over the mountainside, and my neighbor's garden, a huge garden. I planted hundreds and hundreds of starts. So it was fun at first, but then when I started walking around the garden, it's very sad. When I built this greenhouse, what was it, February, March, it's been months and months and months of starts, taking care of all these babies, hundreds and hundreds of babies, planting them in the ground, slowly watching them, weeding, taking care of them, loving on them, and then boom, in 10 minutes, probably half of our crops got completely destroyed. Now, maybe some things will come back. Tomatoes, they're struggling. They look pretty rough out there. A lot of the perennials were okay, which is good to see. Garlic was okay. Onions were okay, but my like cabbage and all the greens were pretty much destroyed. Cucumbers, zucchini, squash just exploded. Like someone threw a grenade into the garden. So that, yeah, it wasn't fun. And I was pretty depressed for most of the day. Yeah, life is interesting. Sometimes things just happen that are sad. And even though I'm typically a joyous person, and I see how like that's something I value, you know, joy and enjoyment and things like that, you know, without the contrast, without the ups and downs, what would life be? So I guess I'm coming on here and partially to share, partially to, you know, remind you that if you're having a rough time, whether it's a day that's rough or weeks or months, that all things change. And oftentimes when we're trying to avoid the feeling and trying to change it, or oh, something's wrong with me, I should be happy, I should be thrilled, and all this stuff, that we actually go into a deeper state of either depression or, you know, a deeper state of like pushing away what we want to feel. You know, people are always trying to find ways to heal and to change their mood and stuff, and sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes we just need to like snap out of it, and there's all kinds of techniques and things that people can do for that. And often though, I find like when I'm not feeling great or not inspired, especially because it's been so gray, just in general when the sun's out, I feel more happy and alive. When it's gray, I just see how I'm kind of like, meh, must not do stuff, you know? And instead of fighting it, I just, you know, let that sit and let that be. And inevitably, the inspiration always comes back. I first discovered this, I was going through a rough time in a relationship many years ago in Brooklyn, and I basically, somebody that I was really into and had dated, things didn't end well, and we were still living together and trying to maintain a good friendship, and you know, she was going out and dating people, and I just wanted to be there, you know. I didn't have the ability to say, hey, this is not healthy for me. I wanted to be there for her, and I didn't know how to take care of myself, and I was going through a tough time, and I would just lay in bed. So I would basically lay in bed for hours and hours and hours and hours most of the day. And at one point it hit me, and I said, you know what, God, if you're out there, I'm not going to try to force myself to get out of bed and get motivated. But if something changes, if some divine thing comes over me and I get out of bed and feel motivation and excitement once more, I will. And lo and behold, many days, if not weeks, just like depressed and down, And then one day, I went from curling up in a ball, just like crying and being sad and lonely, to, hey, okay, I processed this. This is sad. It's going to be up and down, but I'm starting to feel good again. I'm starting to feel inspired to like reintegrate into the world. And I think it was in that process that rather than trying to seek like, oh my God, something's wrong and I need to take certain medications and I need to do this and that, being in that process, I actually found this great sense of joy and this great sense of openness eventually, that healing on the other side, because I wasn't trying to fix what I was feeling. I was accepting what I was feeling. And for me, I'm not an expert or anything, so I would never say what to do or not to do. But I'm not a pharmaceutical person, especially since getting off Adderall in college. I haven't taken any pharmaceuticals, period, and even no pharmacy, Advil or anything in probably at least 15 years. But the main medicine, I've worked with mushrooms, but the main medicine and ayahuasca and stuff in the past, but cannabis has been my main medicine for anything, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. It's not something that I rely on and like, oh, I need to take for this, but I've just found that having a good relationship with it and cultivating that connection to the plant, especially in a more ceremonial sense, that it's been amazing. And I love it. I grow it. We grow it outside, organically, and make our own fertilizer and sing to the plants and just really take care of the plant. So making our own medicine has been a beautiful process for me. And I'm actually doing cannabis ceremony Saturday night. It's going to be on YouTube, and I don't know if this has been done before, but it's going to be free, and you can tune in, and also if not, you can watch it after. But basically the idea is to help you, if you're interested in cannabis, and whether you do it or you don't do it, assuming you're legal age and it's legal in your state and all these things, to help you develop a just more connected relationship to it. Cannabis is often something that we take from, and the spirit of the plant, I think, has been kind of, diminished in certain ways, because people see it as like, what can you do for me? But I think it's much more of a reciprocal relationship and reciprocity, and we give to the plant and we honor the plant, and then by doing so, it supports us in certain ways. I also don't think cannabis is an external thing in the way that people think about it. I don't think it's something that's just like, here's this external thing. If you see, it's like you go to a pharmacy. Oh, this is for headaches. If I have a headache, I take this, and then my headache goes away. And it's just very like one-sided, transactional. Whereas when we start to, commune with these spirits of these plants, I feel like, and I'm not research to back this up, but I feel like we actually evolved with these plants. And there's different theories about evolving with mushrooms and things like cannabis. I think they helped us expand our consciousness and kind of go into these deeper states and understand who we are and how we exist in the world. So when I work with cannabis, it's like connecting to that. And what happens is sometimes you do experience these really intense emotions. Like if I am feeling down, I'm not just like, okay, I need to smoke some weed and just check out. Like when I smoke weed, I know I'm going to go on a journey. Sometimes it's deep creation and excitement, and I'm writing songs and singing and dancing and running up the side of the mountain. And other times I'm like, I'm feeling a lot and I want to feel even more to really look at it. So cannabis will take whatever you're feeling and it will magnify it. People say, oh, I get anxiety or I get paranoia. I just don't. I get it, but I don't think it's like I'm taking this thing and it just gives me this thing. It's like, no, you actually have to learn to work with it. But people, like, they smoke weed at a concert and they like get paranoid and they're like, oh man, whoa, I can't do that again. Weed makes me whatever. Meanwhile, all these other medicines have like ayahuasca. When you go to ayahuasca, there's a lot of ritual around it, and there's people to talk to, and it's not always a pleasant experience. Sometimes people go to these crazy places, but they're supported in that. Same thing can be the case for cannabis. So if you're going to use it, it's like you might as well learn how to work with it properly. So anyhow, that's Saturday night. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. So you can come back at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard, 8 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I did actually yesterday, after having kind of a rough day, I smoked a little bit. And for me, it's just pretty much usually just one hit. I can take one little hit, and that was enough. And it was enough for me to just be there with that feeling of sadness and pain, which I had already gone through during the day, but I was like, okay, time to go into the next dimension of this. And I started to already see the connection and kind of what was coming from that. And it's amazing how my brain can kind of, in general, once I go through a hard process, I can start to see the creative side of what comes from that. Because yes, there's this deep attachment to, oh my God, I have all these plants. I put in hours and hours and hours, months and months of work and time and love. but all things are impermanent in nature. Things happen, things get wiped out, but eventually things grow back, you know. And of course it's nice to have food, and I'm growing food to share with community and friends and things like that. And there's our rooster. And at the same time, you know, there's so many options and ways, whether it's dumpster diving or foraging, or, you know, sometimes just connecting with other people. People have abundance. I have a neighbor who has abundance of things in her garden, and she's always sharing. So sometimes when we think things are supposed to go a certain way and they don't go a certain way, it can be, of course, you know, suffering. As the Buddha says, like, life is suffering. But that suffering, you know, if seen from the, you know, connected and understanding way, things start to make more sense, and the suffering becomes necessary. And it doesn't mean that I crave the suffering or I look forward to it, but in a way, I kind of do, because I know that it leads to more clarity. So I allow myself to go through that process. I don't attach good and bad, right and wrong, and all these different types of meaning to why I'm suffering. I just allow the experience to flow through me, and then I know that one day there will be something different, and then I'll be in that state, and it's beautiful. So anyway, I just want to share a bit about that. You can hear a rooster. But on a good note, I haven't really talked much videos in a while about, you know, this whole farmstead or homesteading experience. But we've been getting eggs, up to 5 a day now. Let's see if this. I actually already collected 4 eggs today. Hey, princess. Hey, princess. Come on. Princess is in the nesting box. How's everybody doing? You guys are getting big. You're getting big. It's been interesting with our rooster. You know, we didn't expect to have a rooster. It turned out one of our hens was actually a rooster, slipped through. And now that we have one, it's like just getting used to that all day. And it's right near our bedroom, so it's been interesting. But when I see them together with the rooster and with the hens, there's this feeling of like there's something right here. He's like protector, he takes care of them, watches after them. So I think we'll keep them, but we shall see. Anyhow, let me show you some of the damage. You can see like a lot of these like things just got completely smashed. Look at this tomato, it's just like, and I'm gone. Kale, smashed, smash, smash, smash. Rhubarb, smash, 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 smash. But then like, you know, the goji, fine. Onions, totally fine. Juneberry, fine. Comfrey, smashed, but looking fine. Garlic, fine. So again, it definitely felt worse when it happened, but that's Mother Nature, and just have to continually learn. Everything is a learning process, everything is an experience, and we learn and we learn and we learn, and that's pretty much the way she goes. Also, another note, yeah, if you ever want to come visit, check out the website, you can learn more.